Hello and welcome to another video by myself, Chris from Sorare on a Budget. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a little gallery update from the last video that I did about 6 weeks ago. I'm looking at some new strategies that I've got in place for the account. I kind of hit a landmark a couple of weeks ago, easy for me to say, where I managed to get the gallery over to ETH in value, and that's led to giving me some thoughts and a couple of little strategy changes. So as you can see on the screen there, it's kind of talking £300 to £7,500, and that's kind of been the 9-month journey. So I'm kind of going to click through. I'll discuss a little bit about that journey. Most of you will know that if you followed for any length of time. I'm then going to discuss what I've called my exit strategy. Doesn't mean I'm quitting Sorare, far from it, but it's a way that I'm looking at starting to take, more money out on a consistent basis, whilst maintaining. And in that is what I'm calling the gallery cap. So I'll discuss those in the video. Be interested to hear what people's thoughts are, if that's something that might interest others. If you can, if you've not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, if you could do that below, just click on the subscribe button. That'd be fantastic. You don't have to put the notifications on, but if you do put the subscription on there, it does help me marching towards 1,000. Once I get there, I can maybe start making a little bit of money off the YouTube videos. Yeah, once I get to 1,000, I can start looking at doing that. Won't make the videos cost anything, but it will start to give me a little back from YouTube. If you're new to Sorare and this is your first video, welcome to the channel. If you're looking to get started, you can join up on the link on the screen. It'll be in the description below, sorareonabudget.com, and that'll take you to the Sorare website, where when you sign up, you'll get your 10 free common cards that you can use in the casual league. Once you've bought 5 cards from the new card auctions, you'll also get a free card, which you can then use in your SO5 leagues, or alternatively, you could sell it for ETH cash, and buy other cards or withdraw it, whichever suits you. Featured card on the screen today is Akito Fukimori, a card I can't wait to start getting some use out of when the J League returns in about a month and a half. So yeah, looking forward to that. So I'm going to first of all click over to the Sorare site. In fact, first of all, I'll go on the Sorare data website. Just do a wee refresh. ETH's been coming down in value over the last 24 hours, but it's not affected the gallery too much in price. It's been floating between sort of 6,250 and 6,400, just fluctuating between the two. But that's where the gallery is sitting at the moment, as you can see on the screen right here. £6,256 as it stands at this very minute, based on last sale prices or the lowest market price, which is what this goes by. Now that's sitting at 2.19 ETH, which is a massive amount of money when certainly by my standards. It's a heck of a lot of money. That did start from £300. It has been a long journey over the last 9 months, and a lot of work and a lot of effort has gone into that. It's not, you can't just stick 300 quid in and expect to get that return. Things were very different. There's been a lot more users on board, which has driven a lot of prices up, which makes it a little bit more expensive to get in at the moment. But I'm going to talk through some of that stuff as I'm doing the video. On top of that, I've withdrawn £1,675 on top of the £6,256 there. So it's over £7,500. It's almost £8,000. It was over £8,000 when I was planning the video, which was going to be the tagline of the video, but because he dropped, I didn't want to mislead it, so I just put it at 7.5 plus. But it has been hovering about that. If I was to sell the gallery today, to one of the the buyers on Discord or wherever for about 80%, I'm still talking probably over $5,000 or £5,000 on the nose, plus the money we've already taken out. So that's over 20 times what I put in the course of 9 months, which is awesome. But there comes a time where you have to start, where I've been thinking to myself, with that value of a gallery, I should be competing for more cards. As you can see on the screen, I've only had 6 winning lineups. Now, that's mainly because I've always viewed myself as a trader, buying and selling the cards, buying them low, selling them, as they're rising. When a player has been performing really high, invariably they've left my gallery for a profit. And that's still a strategy that I will I will follow. But what I've wanted to do is actually build a few sides that are capable of competing for the cards on a weekly basis. So that's where my strategy has changed a little bit in terms of what cards I'm holding at the moment. So I will quickly go into that. Over the last, about 6 weeks ago, I started on the mission of selling out the Austrian LAC cards that I had and reinvesting that into the Turkish league, because that was going to be running right over the Christmas break for the other European leagues. And the some very decent value. Obviously, I've done part one. Part two is going to be going to be coming in the next couple of days. But there was some good value in there. There still is. There's a limited amount of cards when you look at, I shouldn't use the term limited, scarcity of the cards is what I'm talking about, because I'm only talking about the rare cards. Some of them have only got, not even 10, some of them have got, 12 to 15, but there's not a heck of a lot of the Turkish cards. So realistically, if some of them are doing really well, they're going to be at a premium to get those cards bought in. So I bought some of them. I've sold quite a few of them since then as well. And I've kind of built up 3 squads of players that I've kind of been looking at using. So the way that I'm looking at it, come the beginning, sort of middle of February, I look to have 3 solid competing teams. I'm going to be looking for one for Champion Asia. I'm going to be looking for one for Challenger. And I'm going to be looking at one that I'll be putting in All-Star, because it's where we get where the thresholds at the moment. And until that changes, I'm not going to change my strategy around that, because I can always use the cards other places. So to do that, that meant I needed to get a second European goal. Well, actually, I had to buy 2 European goalkeepers, because I sold Van Hamel. I haven't seen where Beershot are at. I don't really see a comeback on the cards. I mean, annihilated at the weekend. Thankfully, I'd sold my card about 10 days ago, long before the weekend, and I managed to recoup. I sold them for 0.245, I think it was. And I'd only bought them for 1.9. So realistically, I bought them for about 5.70 and I sold them for 7.20. Between that and the money that I've had from, I sold out all the MLS cards, because I didn't feel I could compete with an MLS team and a Champion Asia team. I couldn't do both. So I wanted to go with one or the other, and the one I went with was Champion Asia. My reason for that was, when it comes to Champion America, you've not only got MLS to focus on, you've got obviously you've got the Argentina League with River Plate stacks, you've got the Brazil leagues, you've got Mexico, you've got the Peruvian ones. So you've got quite a lot of leagues and cards to pull from. Now, that probably will mean there'll be a bigger prize pool when those game weeks, but it was an awful lot to try and spread myself across. So I felt if I focused on the J League, I haven't even looked at the K League, I've just focused mainly on the J League, and I built a team from the J League. So I have spent quite a wee bit on the team, but I've tried to buy some players that I would class as, premium cards. Let me just bring up the J League cards at the moment, and there we go. So I managed to get hold of Thiago Santana after about a week of trying. Somebody reneging on a deal, but I did manage to get a really good deal from a follower, actually. It was Pitch 05, and gave me a good deal on him, so I managed to get my hands on him. I've also brought in Tanaka. Ideguchi is supposed to go to Celtic, so won't be used for this. I bought him as an investment, because if he does go to Celtic, I can hopefully sell him on for a wee bit of a profit. Picked him up in an auction, that's why you're seeing his price there. I picked up Tanaka. That was a trade. It was a straight trade for Vural from the Turkish league, just because, again, it's a premium defender. It's one of the ones he does seem to do quite well, and his scores are pretty decent, although 47 for the end of the season wasn't the greatest. I still got Sugeno that I picked up about a month ago, or 28 days ago. His price is very low. There's some doubt whether he will be the #1 goalkeeper, but I do think he's actually going to start the season. And that's kind of like my main goals. Rarely does a card stay in my gallery for that, length of a time anyway. So I may well swap that. I may well sell him if he does start the season and his price goes up. I could then obviously look to maybe pick something else up. But his price is low predominantly because of his age and a wee bit of ambiguity whether he's going to start or not. But I'm quite confident in him starting. The other lads are the ones that I actually managed to get out for a game at the end of the season. So these have all been in the club now for about a month, as you see. Daiki Sugar's been there for 2. I don't think it's actually really fully 2. I think it's just over 1 month. But that gives me Fukumori. Again, he is a premium defender, takes some of the free kicks, and I think he takes some penalties as well. So, I mean, he finished the season with a 5-game average of 63, having come back from a long-term injury. So I'm excited to get use out of him. Kaneko was somebody I had previously, and he is, he was being touted with a move to Vissel Kobe, but he's turned it down to stay at Consadole. And he does play further forward and has on occasion played through, as a striker. Mainly a winger, but has played through the middle as well. So I'm excited to get use out of him. The 3 players at the bottom here have all got under 23 usage. So that does give me an option to use them in an under 23 league, but that's only going to be with a common goalkeeper. So, I can't afford an under 23 keeper. If I get lucky with some of the game weeks and I manage to get a decent reward, then I can start selling and buying up and what have you. Maybe I'll think about it, but the prices of the keepers for the under 23s just seems a wee bit mad for me. So it's probably, the rewards are very good, but I think, I'll cross that bridge when I come to be honest. But I'm mainly focused on the 3 just now. So I've been quite happy with the way that the J League shaped up. It has cost a wee bit more than probably would have anticipated, but the prices didn't drop. They've gone up. Some of them have doubled. Some of them have trebled. The prices are a wee bit mad, but I did say a few weeks ago in one of the videos that I didn't see a dip coming in terms of an off-season one, because a lot of the newcomers couldn't afford to buy the Challenger Europe cards. They couldn't afford to buy the Champion Europe cards. So they were actually a lot of people had been saying to me they were buying players for the MLS and for the, between the K and the J League, because those are the ones they were going to use in February. So it made sense to me that the prices probably weren't going to drop off that much. Now, once the season gets started and the new season cards come out, that may well make an impact on it because there'll be more of them. But when you're talking about the better part of, I think it's about 80,000 users now, have got at least one card. That's a massive pool of people competing for only maybe say 150 of a card, between the couple of seasons cards that are there. So it does mean the prices are at a premium, and it's the same across the MLS. You've seen that with the different days that they've done with the auctions, the Asia ones yesterday, America's today, I think it's Challenger tomorrow, and then Champion the following day. So the prices you're seeing in the auctions are very high, and that means that then drives up the prices on the secondary market, because people see if the card's just gone for 0.12, I'm wanting 0.12 for mine because it's got a higher bonus on it, or whatever the case may be. So it's something to have a look at. I did decide to start trading into some of them, but I've got some decent prices for my MLS cards, which then led to me being able to trade into those. It did also allow me to take out an extra 300 quid, and then I subsequently took out an extra 100 as well. So because I had extra left over, but that fits into what I'm going to talk about in a little bit. European wise, I decided I'm going to run the next couple of weeks with just the, I'm going to put on, bring the Champion ones up. I've bought 2 Austrian, well, actually I bought 4 Austrian keepers, but from 2 teams. The reason being, the prices obviously have dropped in those ones, same with the Russians, and it's because obviously there's no use for them for the next 6 weeks, but that, I'm not too bothered. I've got some decent common goalkeepers there, and I've got very good outfield players, so I should be able to get through the 205 as a minimum, which means I can still keep building up the ETH balance, and then when it comes around to February, I've got these 2 goalkeepers that the chances are the value of them will start to creep back up again. Steven Handel's already started to creep back up. So that does give me the option to then be able to, buy these keepers for less, considerably less than some of the other challenger keepers, like from the Belgian league. And even Van Hamel, he was still on the market for 0.19, and that's a keeper that's just shedded 7. in midweek there, and it's not looking promising for his side. Being the captain of the team, he's probably going to be too good to go down, but being the captain, he's probably going to stay, in my opinion, but tends to be the captain's going to be loyal to the club. Then again, there's no loyalty in football, it all talks money. So it obviously depends on that. But I just want to shy away from it. So I've went with Sturm Graz, second in the league. I've went with SV Riyadh. I brought back Sahan Radlinger. Did turn his form around after I sold him the last time. So hopefully he doesn't take a dip back down. But they're both competing for the top six. SV Riyadh, I don't think they'll make top six because they've got Austria Vienna, they've got Lask on their tails as well. So they may well fall into the bottom part of the league, but they are a good 11 points clear of Altak at the bottom. So that was my thinking about that. And if they do drop into the bottom half of the league, it does mean they'll have, technically they've got some easier fixtures. So that would be that, that's why I've kind of went with these two keepers, and it does give me two starters. And if I pull out the backups, because as I've always said, and that was thanks to Russell, Scotland Sorare, that, their insurance policies, if Sahan Radlinger goes down with an injury, Haas is going to go in the goal. And it's the same with Siebenhandel and Schutzenauer. So it just gives me the cover, and it makes me feel a wee bit easier about shelling out as much money as I have done on these players. Other than that, I picked up a couple of cheaper lads, that were just cheap in the auctions and coming back from injury, things like that. And then I've got some, the prices I've been paying for players, obviously, I think you'll all know that if you look at it if you want a premium card just now, you're having to pay a lot. And even average cards, you're paying silly money for. So, yeah, I've had to pay quite a lot when I've wanted to get a new striker. But on the flip side of that, when I bought in this lad, for example, Pojan Palo, I paid 0.125 for him, but I did sell Diedu for 0.17. So that was a difference of 0.045, 130 odd quid, which meant I could then reinvest that elsewhere. So, and already he's had a goal, and his average has obviously jumped up considerably. He was only about 41 or 42. Now he's in the 50s. His price is creeping up again. And that's, the way I look at it. If his price goes up and up and up, I will look to sell him and buy somebody else. It's just, how it goes. Quite a few of the Turkish league players and David Bates and things like that as well. I've kept, when I've sold goalkeepers, I've kept the backups just in case, if Van Hamel was to get dropped off the back of last weekend. Not saying he would, because he has played every single game for the last 40. But if he did get dropped, then I've got the backup. So chances are, if he was to start in the goal for the next few games, his price will creep up and I'll sell him. And then I can reinvest that. I don't see Branderhorst getting dropped, but I've got Vukovic still there anyway. It's not too much of a cost to sit and hold them. It's only about 30, 35 quid. But I seen it with Alex Kahn, a 50 quid card suddenly became a 500 quid card. And that made a massive difference to everything I've been able to do in the last, say, 2 weeks. So speaking of that, what I've called my exit strategy, we've got quite a few things that we're, looking to clear in the next, handful of months. We're saving for a mortgage deposit. We have been for a little bit, been able to squirrel some money away. But now that Christmas is over and done with, we're able to start thinking, right, okay, I'm wanting to put more money away. I'm wanting to take some money out. Now, it's all fine and well to me saying like, okay, I've got a roster that's worth $6,000. It's only on paper until I sell that and take the money out. It's all paper money to me, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, it's got great value to it, but until you sell it and realize that money, that's all it is. It's just a valuation. So the way that I'm looking at it now, I think in my head, the way that I'm looking at my gallery, between say £6,000 and £6,500, I've basically set a cap of £6,500 on the gallery. Anything over £6,500, I'm withdrawing. Now, you may think that, you can obviously buy better players, you can, increase the quality of them and things like that. But to be honest, if I'm sitting with £6,500 worth of a gallery with 3 very decent teams going in on a weekly basis and even sometimes twice a week going into SO5s to win Ether, to win cards, that should be more than doable with that kind of a budget. It's massive, to be perfectly honest. I mean, like I say, it's 20 times what I started with. So that's my strategy. Basically, anything over and above 6.5 grand is getting withdrawn. I don't intend on taking the gallery any higher than that. Now, that money is then going to be going into, it's, maybe not as fancy, but it's going to be going into our ISA and stuff like that for our first time buyer mortgage and things like that. So it's things that, if I needed instant access, I would have to take a hit on that money. But at the moment, if I start to take out dribs and drabs here and there and keep the gallery at the kind of between 6 and 6.5 grand, then anything over and above that, I can start taking it out, and we could put me and Louise's share away, and Christian gets his share, and that way, we're able to start saving up for that kind of things, and you don't know what life changes, coming the next year. We've seen what's happened in the last year, but it just gives you it gives me peace of mind to know that I've got access to cash at any point should we need it. And, if I did need it just now, I'm having to look at probably losing, maybe 12 to 1,500 pounds by selling it off cheap to someone to get the money out instantly. So I'd rather be able to start taking some out as I go. So that's why I've called it my exit strategy. It's not an exit from the game. It's just basically capping where I'm looking at and being able to take out the money over and above that. Now, that may change. Once I take out so much, I might think, okay, well, let's look at moving it to 7 grand. Let's look at maybe moving it. If the player values continue to increase the way that they have, I may have to reevaluate that. But I think I'm going to just try and be sensible, and look at being able to withdraw some money on an ongoing basis. I'm also any cards that we do win, they are going to be withdrawn. I will sell them and I'll withdraw them, withdraw the cash from it. And again, that'll go part savings, part to Christian. It's just, the way that it's going to be. If it's a card I want to keep, if should I win somebody that I'm like, I can't sell him, I'll have to sell one of the other cards and then I'll withdraw that. So it's not necessarily going to be one in, one out, but when it comes to winning a card, it is going to be one in, one out. If I want to buy other cards, I will do. But it's going to be within the strategy. I'm going to try and stick to this as best possible. And I think, as I say, it's just for my peace of mind. It's not any concerns I've got with Sorare or anything like that. I just would like to be able to start now being thinking, right, okay, how much money do I need to have in Sorare? And how much would I like to have in my bank account? So it's weighing the two, and we are wanting to hopefully be in a position to have our full deposit for a mortgage. This time next year would be great to be able to move into someplace. So we are putting money away, each week or each month and things like that. But being able to do it through this as well will accelerate that process and make life a lot easier. So yeah, that's kind of where the gallery's at. That's where I'm at. That's my strategy changes, as I say, from looking at, trying to compete in various different leagues to narrowing it down and really kind of focusing on those three. And I'm still going to be looking at picking up my bargains and selling them on and doing all that within that strategy. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to limit any of that. That's always going to be the case. I'm always going to be looking at, where's the next bargain and what can I invest into it. So, yeah, that's where that's at. So, I don't think there's anything else really to discuss on that matter. My Twitter page, if you are looking to follow me, this was one thing. I just coming to the end of the year and reflecting on a lot of stuff. I might do I've done review videos and things like that, but just looking at things like this. I started this page probably must have been maybe April into May. And it was just a bit of fun. And it still is fun. It's what I do most of the time. Twitter's just sitting on my phone. It's easy to go into. But to sit and have over 3,500 follows, it's just bonkers. I'm eternally grateful to everybody who's followed, interacted, whether you're positive or negative. The negative ones, and fair enough, happy days. I've got a mute button, we all do. But if it's constructive criticism, I'm more than happy to listen to it. If you just come on and say you're a dick as well, and I'll block you. Happy days. But I actually won't block you. I'll mute you because then you could shout at the clouds. That's few and far between, to be perfectly honest. But I do like, if there is constructive criticism, I'll always engage in a constructive conversation. If I don't respond to it, it's probably because either muted or I'm I'm just not going to argue with some people because there's no point. Somebody told me a long time ago, if you argue with an idiot, it's hard for people to tell who the idiot is. So that's kind of the way that I look at things. So yeah, I'm just going to be quite content at leaving it there. What we'll do quickly, just before I shoot off, these were the teams that I had put together. Sorry, my legs are going dead from the way I'm sitting. Yeah, these were the teams that I put together. I posted them up on Twitter the other night. And you know, if this was today, I mean, obviously squads could change, things can happen, player could get injured and need to pick somebody else up, or I might sell somebody and bring in others. But if it was today, this would be my all-star team that I'd be entering. So I would have the Sturm Graz keeper, the two players from Aberdeen, Bates and Ramirez, Jordi Brown, who I sold and had, you know, seller's remorse and I bought him back for what I sold him for. So I didn't make or lose. You know, I just got my player back that I wanted. He's been really good for me. So, and then Sebastian Polter, who's been doing pretty decent at Bochum since I picked him up as well. So, again, I may look to trade into some others and sell some and what have you, but that'll be where I'll go with that. This would be the Challenger Europe one. Probably would be looking to strengthen it a wee bit, to be honest. But it's a fairly solid team for me. It's not an Ajax stack, so I'm not going to win or anything like that. But if I can start competing into the tier 3s and then, you know, work my way into tier 2s, that'd be great. I would probably have to buy and sell, you know, when players are on the up. But that's just the nature of the beast. So I would basically be looking to do that with that one. Ryan Dogg's been fantastic, bottom of the league side, but he had a 90 and a 91 in Christmas week. So, and both times he was in the second squad, but it is what it is. I will probably look at that for the coming weeks until then. And then this looks like a Consadole stack, and it's not on purpose. It's just happened that, you know, Kaneko was one of my favourite players I held, and I do see a bright future for him. Fukumori was one of the better defenders that I've seen in the league, and Tanaka, the two of them pair very well, and Sugeno was the cheapest keeper, so that was kind of how it worked out. And then Thiago Santana being the striker up top. He played most of the games last year, scored 12 goals, got a few assists, and was always at a decent score, you know, hovering about the 45 to 50s every week. And then obviously get his decisives as well. So yeah, that's basically the way I would be looking if that was my the three sides today. That's what I would be in, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to the middle of February. I've got a very quiet couple of weeks. I've got nothing this weekend. I've got nothing next midweek. So I'm just basically looking forward to the weekend of the 7th of January, and that's when I can get back into, you know, using the Turkish lads and things like that. So yeah, I'd be very interested to hear people's opinions on that strategy change. Yeah, either drop them in the comments or hit me up on Twitter at Sorare on a budget. Either have it on my page, or if you want to DM me separately to discuss it, I'd be love to hear that. You know, that talk and see what you think. Thank you to everybody that subscribed to the channel. If you haven't, please do so. It'd be a massive help to me. The next video is going to be Turkey Part 2. Obviously, I had the last week I did the first part of it, and then I'm now going to be doing the second part of that tomorrow, which will be, if you're watching this video tonight, that'll be Wednesday. So tomorrow will be Thursday, and that's when that'll be going up. And again, if you're new to Sorare, you can join up at Sorare. You can join up to Sorare on my link, which is sorareonabudget.com. That'll take you to the Sorare site. You'll get your 10 free common cards, which you can use in the casual league, and then you'll get your free card when you buy 5 from the new card auctions. As I mentioned, Sorare on a Budget is the Twitter handle. Yeah, thank you very much for all your help and support over the course of the year since I started. And I will be back tomorrow, and I might try and get something up on Hogmanay or New Year's Eve for anybody outside Scotland, but Hogmanay is what it's really called. Auld Lang Syne's what you all sing, it's a Scottish song. So that'll be, yeah, I might do something, just a short video, just to kind of read and review my thoughts on where I'm at and where, you know, what I'm looking forward to in 2022. Yeah, so thank you very much, guys. I will speak to you all again soon, and all the very best. If you don't watch the other videos, all the very best for your new year, and I hope you had a lovely Christmas. Should have said that at the start. Hey ho, I'm rambling. Goodbye.